Sebastian Vale was a man consumed by hatred and desperation. He fantasized about killing, and he lived in a world painted by betrayal and blood. The name Sebastian Vale sounded regal, powerful, almost noble, but he loathed it. There was the gift of love, but a symbol of control, a name purchased rather than given. His adoptive parents didn't take him in out of compassion. They bought him like property, a financial investment with a heartbeat. That realization festered inside him, breeding disgust and a deep rooted loathing for everything his life represented. After years of torment, the asylum became his cage. They labeled him with terms like antisocial personality disorder, obsessive. But even before those clinical definitions, Sebastian had already been broken. His parents had twisted him with cruelty, their games warping his sense of self until one day he snapped. He killed them, left their corpses in the cold silence of their home, an echo of the love they never gave. Then came the escape. One stormy night, thunder cracking overhead and rain soaking his clothes, Sebastian fled the asylum. It was on that night he met her, Melisa Hardvort. She appeared like fate itself, colliding with him on a dark street corner. He had been trembling, soaked to the bone, barely holding himself together, and she had asked, "Are you okay?" That single question shattered something inside him. No one had ever cared. No one had ever seen him as human. But she did. She brought him into her home, a stranger, a fugitive, a killer. She let him shower, gave him clothes, dried his hair with her gentle hands. She had no idea what he had done, no clue what demons lived in his mind. And still, she looked at him with kindness, with warmth. She didn't see a monster, just a man who needed help. In that moment, Sebastian felt something he had never experienced before, longing, not for blood, not for revenge, but for connection, for love. He wanted her, not in the way he wanted to hurt others, not with violence or rage, but with tenderness. He wanted to be held by her, to be told he mattered, to be treated like he was a product of pain and madness. He didn't know what love truly was, but he wanted to find out through her. That desire became an obsession. The more he thought about her, the worse it got. She made him feel vulnerable, powerless. She made him stammer and freeze, reduced him to a shell of the confident, eloquent man he believed himself to be. Around her, the voices in his head screamed louder. He hated how she made him feel, but he couldn't stop watching her, admiring her from afar. Melisa worked often, lost in her daily routines, unaware of the eyes that followed her. Sebastian would stand at a distance, hidden, aching. He didn't want to scare her. He didn't want to hurt her, but he couldn't stay away. She had made an imprint on his fractured soul, and now he belonged to that moment she reached out in the rain. Eventually, he had to leave. His butler, Andrew, was calling him back to his estate, to the shell of the life he led. Melisa would be fine, she always was. But as he turned his back and walked away from her yet again, he felt a gnawing pain in his chest. Leaving her never got easier. Melisa was only 20-4, but life had already carved deep scars into her soul. For 3 relentless years she had juggled school and work without pause, endlessly cycling through exhaustion and survival. Each day followed the same ritual, helping her ailing grandmother take her medicine, preparing food before rushing to catch the bus, and heading straight into the chaos of her shift. Her body was tired, her spirit stretched thin, but she had no other option. Her grandmother depended on he ran anchor in a world that otherwise threatened to drag her under. Work was grueling. Customers were impatient, the hours long, and the pay barely enough to scrape by. Her grandmother, sick for 2 weeks, required expensive medication. Melisa had no one else. She was her grandmother's caregiver, provider, and only family. That responsibility gave her purpose, but also chained her to a life she longed to escape. On one especially long night, close to midnight, while working the closing shift, a group of unruly men barged into the store. Loud, laughing, and destructive, they disrupted the fragile order she had tried to maintain. There was no security, no one to back her up. When she politely tried to usher them out, things took a dark turn. One of them grabbed her, slammed her against the wall. Her protest meant nothing. Surrounded, outnumbered, and terrified, Melisa was helpless. What followed shattered her. The men overpowered her, tore at her clothes, mocked her, and violated her in the very place where she'd been trying to survive. Her screams were ignored by the world, her pain drowned out by their laughter. Afterward, she lay broken, bleeding, and numb. Shame and disgust clung to her skin. Worse than the physical pain was the loss of her sense of self. Something had been taken from her that she knew she could never recover. No one came to help. No one ever had. She had always been overlooked, dismissed, belittled for being poor, for working a fast-minus-food job, for being different. She had done everything right, stayed strong, endured hardship, taken care of the only person who mattered. And yet this was her reward. She left the store in a daze, her body aching, her clothes torn and filthy. As she walked home, each step throbbed with pain. The city sped by, indifferent. When she finally reached her house, another wave of horror awaited her. The door creaked open to reveal chaos. Furniture overturned, glass shattered, and her grandmother's wheelchair on its side in the living room. Panic surged through her as she searched the house, until she found her lying on the floor lifeless, soaked in blood. Melisa dropped to her knees, screaming, cradling her grandmother's body, in disbelief and anguish. Her cries filled the silence of the house, but still no one came. She called 911, but the ringing in her ears drowned everything out. Her world had shattered in a single night. At the funeral, no one came. She sat alone, warning the only person who had ever loved her. The pain consumed her. She held tightly to the only memento she had left, a small, worn stuffed toy her grandmother had given her on her 23rd birthday. It was all she had left in the world. Wandering the streets in her black dress, Melisa felt like a ghost, a shell. Sitting on a park bench, she watched strangers laugh and live as if nothing was wrong in the world. Her own grief was invisible, her suffering unacknowledged. She longed for revenge, for justice, but even survival was out of reach. As the night deepened, she fell asleep on the bench. When she awoke, the park was silent and empty, but something was different. A black rose lay beside her. Elegant, strange, and beautiful. She had never seen one before. No one was around. No footprints. No sounds. Just the rose and a chill in the air. She picked it up, unsure what it meant. A gift? A warning? A message? Back home, the unease returned. Her window was wide open. The rain had begun again, the sky weeping for the broken. But inside, something was off. The house was spotless. Clean. To clean. The fridge was fully stocked. Her favorite dishes, still warm, sat on the dining table. In the center, another black rose. Fear clung to her as she searched for a weapon. She retrieved the crowbar from the garden, where she used to plant flowers with her grandmother. But no intruder was found. No signs of first entry. Only silence and that strange, eerie feeling that someone had been there. Someone who knew her. Someone who had prepared everything just for her. As she sat at the table staring at the food, memories overwhelmed her. Her grandmother used to cook like this. She missed her terribly. Her tears returned as she ate, craving the comfort of that familiar love, even if only in memory. That night, Melisa realized something had changed inside her. She was no longer the girl who cried silently. She had been broken, yes, but something within her refused to stay shattered. Someone was watching her. Someone knew her pain. Whether that someone was a friend, a foe, or a phantom, only time would tell.